folks. Welcome back in another edition of the Wednesday discussion. I'm your host, JZ Sports. This is the Handicap Sports Podcast. Honda Classic on tap this week at good old PGA National. If you're new here, the Wednesday discussion, we run through the entire board. We run through DraftKings, betting outrights. I go over the course breakdown. I give a little course preview as well. And we do that all through rickrungood.com. He's got the stats. He's got the golfer profiles. He's got the, course key stats, breakdowns, whatever have you, to get us the most informed as possible this week. He also has the live stats, the Korn Ferry Tour stats, the Euro stats. So he has it all. And we'll be rolling through that here to put you in the best place to be the most informed, for your betting card this week, for your DFS card this week. Rick Run Good's been helping me, ever since I hopped into the golf betting game, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. His platform is just one of the best ones out there. It's got everything possible for you. So yeah, we're going to keep rolling with that. Without further ado, let's hop right into the course. Let's hop right into the tournament. PGA National, Honda Classic, will be on Bermuda grass this week. First leg of the Florida swing. We're out of California. Sorry. We're going to be on Bermuda. Just over 7,000 yards at the par 70. Average green size is about 7,000. There's absolutely water galore here. I think there's water on 14 out of the 18 holes, something crazy like that. PGA National has the classic bear trap holes on holes 15 through 17 that play well over par. You're lucky to get a par out of there. Birdie's just an unbelievable capitalization on that front. We see winners here, 10 under, 11 under, maybe a little bit less, 9 under, 8 under, 7 under. So see the winner this week to be in between, I want to say 7 under or 13 under. Our previous winner last year, Sepp Straka, who just absolutely striped the ball extremely well. PGA National asks for a lot. There's going to be, there's usually tough winds at this place, tough greens to hit, Bermuda greens, firm and fast. It's a tough test, and that's why these scores are low, year after year. Yes, it is a weaker field, but, there's money to be gained, there's lineups to be made, and there's bets to be made. We're going to be here all for you all day long. Just in terms of, distance, off the tee, I would say distance might be a little bit more important than accuracy, but I wouldn't say it's a huge prerequisite to success here. Bombers could be successful here, short players could be successful here. You're going to want to hit fairways. You're going to want to put yourself in the best position to hit greens and regulations. Saving par going up and down is going to be very important here. Approach play is obviously going to be important, but striking the ball. We're not going to see a lot of wedges here. I feel we're going to see a lot of approach shots being dialed in from 125 to 150 to 175. In that range, around the green play too is going to be huge. One thing that I'm putting a lot of emphasis on is sand saves. There's a ton of bunkers here. You're going to find yourself in bunkers more times than not this year. So that's one thing that I have dialed in into my model, and it shows that in the previous years, good sand players are usually pretty successul here. And then putting, you're gonna have to make putts. You're gonna have to make the 10-footers. You're gonna have to go up and down for par. Whether it's 7-footers, 10-footers, maybe a little bit more than that. You're gonna have to have a solid 4 days here. Now that the course is kind of went through really quick and briefly, let's go over the board top to bottom. So Sung Jae In is the leader, the flat out leader on the board here. His DK salary price is $10,700. Projected to come in at around 40% projected ownership. And remember, folks, Sung Jae was in this pretty much same position last year. Ownership through the roof. Favorite, one of the top guys in the field. Missed the cut. So be careful. Playing chalk this week. In a tournament like this with a field so weak like this, there's so much room for value. And I think something on this show that we could really get out is to find that value and to find where ownership is lacking to really come out with some money this week. So like I said, Sung Jae, $10,700, not the greatest outing at the Genesis last week, came in 56. But before that, has been playing pretty well. If we kind of dive into Sung Jae real quick and his golfer profile, we know he's pretty good on Bermuda. He lost on approach last week. He lost around the green. He lost putting. We don't really see a lot of that out of Sung Jae. He gained 2.3 off the tee and 1.82 ball striking, but he didn't really have his best stuff. Like we said, his prior history here, he has won the Honda Classic before in 2020, and he was at $9,300, gained completely across the board. He has a T8 finish in 2021, but like I said, cut last year. You would hope he bounces back after a tough week last week at the Genesis. Like I said, Bermuda is his best surface, so Sung Jae might find some of my lineups, but I got to find ways to get that ownership down in some of the cheaper guys in that sense. But yeah, it's tough either way with Sung Jae, just given that ownership percentage. I do think he will make the cut this week, though, so that's just something to put into perspective. Shane Lowry's our next guy at 10,400. Has been struggling as of late, but last week he played pretty well at the Genesis, came in 14th. If we look into Lowry, we could see that Lowry was really struggling before the T14 finish at the Genesis Invitational. Cut at the Phoenix, cut at the Dubai Desert Classic. Abu Dhabi, he played okay, T28 there. But yeah, if we look at these last four, he only gained twice on approach. Around the green was He kind of cleaned that up last week at the Genesis. And he hasn't gained putting in his last four recorded starts. His history here, he plays it here a lot. Second place finish last year, T36 in 2021, T21 in 2020, T49 in 2018, T53 in 2016. So pretty good track record here. Has not missed a cut. I probably will say he again won't miss. He will make the cut this week. Coming in at a much less ownership percentage as Sung Jae at 23%. So yeah, those are just the two big cats. You can play them how you want them. If you do play Sung Jae, I would recommend you try to get a couple cheaper guys who are sub 10 percent and kind of work that in. Maybe a mid-tier 8,000 guy, maybe a little less than that. But expect Lowry, expect Sung Jae to play well this week. It's a weak field. Andy Lack actually wrote this in his article, which I completely agree with. Sung Jae's B+ game isn't going to get it done this week. John Rahm's C+ game most likely will. That's the difference between them. So that's how you gotta kind of look at this with Sung Jae and even Lowry, when kind of making your picks. So yeah, that's pretty much the two guns up top. Coming in here, we got Chris Kirk at 9,900, Billy Horschel at 9,700, Alex Noren at 9,500, Minwoo Lee 94, Kuchar 93, Aaron Wise 9,200, Denny McCarthy 91, and Thomas Dietrich 9,000. In this range, a couple of guys who I do want to look at. Chris Kirk does have a good track record here: 7th in 2020, 25th in 2021, 2 missed cuts, and then a 33rd. He hasn't really played much though. Didn't play at the Genesis. Phoenix, Miscut, Pebble, no. Farmers, no. The Amex and Sony, he has 2 third-place finishes. So if you're looking back there, Chris Kirk has played then. Actually, has Kirk played on the Euro Tour at all? Let me see this. I don't think he has. Yeah, his last start was Phoenix, missed the cut there, and then the Amex and Sony where he came in T3. Struck the ball unbelievable. Approach numbers good. Around the green, great. Putting the ball, very well. So how's Chris Kirk on Bermuda? Yeah, he's pretty average on Bermuda. Poe is his worst. What's his ownership at this week? By the way, Rick Run Good projected ownership. Michael Cavalunas does that over there. He does an unbelievable job with that ownership. He's at 12%, which is not terrible. Might get around there. Billy Horschel at an 8.51% at 9,700. I'm going to stay away from Horschel this week. Alex Noren's a guy who I want to kind of deep dive into real quick because Noren has 2 missed cuts, but I think he plays this place very well. Honda Classic, if we look at him in the T5 last year, T46 in 2020. He had a cut in 2019, but a third place finish in 2018. He plays this place well. Let me see how he is. Nothing really on the Bermuda aspect of things, but Genesis, he got cut. Phoenix Open cut. Abu Dhabi T5. DP World Tour Championship in Dubai. So he's been playing pretty well on the European Tour. And prior to that, his fall swing was actually pretty good. No missed cuts. Actually, he had a kind of a rough stretch in the fall swing there, but what's Noren's projected ownership at? Noren's at that's a little high for Noren at almost 16%. I kind of want to get down to these guys a little more. Minwoo Lee, if you don't, we haven't seen Minwoo Lee on the PGA Tour, but this dude has been absolutely tearing up the European Tour. That's the really good thing about RickRunGood.com as well. We get all we pretty much watch is the PGA Tour, but if you kind of just went on ESPN.com and looked up Minwoo Lee's statistics, the PGA Tour would show up. But you need to realize that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. His last 10 recorded starts were all on the European Tour. He has a T13 at the Hero Dubai Desert Classic, a T2 at the Abu Dhabi, third place finish at the Aussie Open, a T4 at the Fortinet Australian PGA Championship. This dude, he's been striking the ball unbelievably well. He's been gaining, across all categories. Do I think he's going to win? No, but I think he can be a pretty good DFS play, and I think he could be a pretty good matchup play. So I don't really think there's any value of him outright. He's got a pretty big projected ownership at 22%, but kind of in line with Lowry. So that's something to take into consideration. Kuchar at 9,300, obviously had an unbelievable week last week. 8th at the Genesis for stripping the ball well. Aaron Wise. Aaron Wise is a guy who I kind of want to get into right now because Aaron Wise really didn't show up in California, but he usually doesn't really play well in California. Usually it's Florida where he kind of gets it rolling. Yeah, cut at Phoenix, a cut at the Amex, T18 at the Century Tournament of Champions. Has been struggling on approach. Lost on approach in 3 of his last 4. Off the tee has been pretty neutral. He really hasn't been gaining. There's not really one category where he has been playing, that has been showing, some good signs. The Honda Classic cut last year, but in 21, 20, and 18, it's a 13, a 35, and a 33. So he definitely plays well here, and I think he's pretty good on Bermuda. I think that's one of his. It's pretty average, but I think that's only for 2022. He's a guy who I want to really get back with. I was routing him a lot towards the end of last year, fall swing and stuff like that. He's at a 21% ownership at $9,200. I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Wise is in the mix come Sunday because he's just a solid player. And he's great in Florida, and that's something that you do want to see, given, we're on the Florida spring right now. PGA National is a tough test. Yeah, I think Aaron Wise is going to have a good week this week. Despite his, poor play as of late, he doesn't really play well in California. Coming back to Florida, he should, start turning things around. So I could get behind Wise this week. McCarthy, coming a little less popular than I thought. He's been playing unbelievable. 14th at the Jenny, missed cut at Phoenix, 4th at Pebble, 30th here last year, 3rd in 2021. McCarthy has been playing very well, and you just have to think, when is Denny going to get that win? Because he's just lurking and lurking and lurking. Gained almost 7 at the Genesis with the flat stick. He gained 6 at the Pebble Pro-Am with the flat stick. Approach numbers are starting to get a little bit better after struggling for a little bit. He gained almost 2 at the Pro-Am, went even at the Phoenix, but he got cut there. Gained almost 2 at the Genesis. I really don't get to Denny that often, so I probably won't get to him this week, but I know a lot of people will get to him. So I actually think this 17 number is going to rise a little bit. I think he's going to be a little bit more popular throughout the week, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Thomas Dietrich. Now, like I said, with Thomas Dietrich, I've been on Thomas Dietrich all day long. Fall swing, beginning of this year, these couple events here, I had him T40 at the Genesis. 33rd place finish. He's a solid player, and you just have to think, when is he going to get that win? When is that going to come to fruition? And like I said, at this place, you need to make pars. You need to go up and down for par. Making bogey is going to happen, but limiting the bogeys can win you this tournament. It really can win you this tournament. In the field, Thomas Dietrich is first in bogey avoidance. He's first in scrambling, which is huge. He's second in Bermuda putting. He's 10th in 100 to 150 yards on approach. The only thing is here is he hasn't played any of these courses. He never played Pebble. He hasn't played Torrey, where we were at, for the Farmers. That's the only thing is the course history with him, and he hasn't played here. But if you take that out of consideration and you just look at Thomas Dietrich, how he's been playing the fall thing, and it's like he doesn't miss cuts. Like Thomas Dietrich does not miss cuts. 33rd at the Genesis, 37th at the Pebble, 37th at the Farmer, 26th at the Amex. Like he plays well. It's just when is he going to break through and really have that gamer type week to really put him in the mix come Sunday. Can it happen this week? It might. It really might. It really might. Just given, how hard this course is and, how well he scrambles and how well he could go up and down for par. So I got my eye on Dietrich this week. He's coming at a 17% projected ownership, which, when you look at all these other guys, Wise, Kuchar, Minwoo Lee, they're all highly above that. So it could be a little nice spot for him there. Next guy up, Taylor Pendrith at 8,900. I like Taylor Pendrith this week. Me and Andy Lack, who talked on Monday, he brought up Taylor Pendrith. I told him, yeah, I agree with Pendrith here. In terms of off the tee, Pendrith is very long off the tee, but you don't always need to use driver here. So I could see Pendrith actually clubbing down a little bit on some of these drives and, really still getting that distance and putting him in good spots, to hit greens here. Came in 7th at the Pebble. He played here last year. He came in 25th. I just think coming in at 11% ownership, I think Pendrith is just a solid player. President's Cup team man. Yeah. If we look at his profiles of late, I don't think we're going to see the greatest of things, but, if we look at a field like this, actually not even really. T7 at the AT&T Pebble Pro-Am, T57 at the Phoenix. The putting has been the flaw. The end of last year, the putting was terrible. That's really getting better. Approach numbers gained on his last two. Around the green, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 out of his last 5 has gained. It's a good spot for Taylor Pendrith. I think he could do some damage this week. He's another guy who I'm really, really going to dial in on. Um, in all markets. JT Poston, I don't know, has good course history here, but he's failed me way too many times this week. Adam Svensson, great performance last week at the Genesis T9. Last year came T9 here. Svensson's a good player. I think his ownership is going to rise a little bit throughout the week, so that might have me stay away from him. And I'd much rather get to this next guy here, Johnny Vegas, who has unbelievable course history here. 42nd in 22, 30th in 21, 27th in 2020, 16th and 19. Has been playing great as of late. If we just pull up his golfer profile, we're going to see that with Vegas, he's been doing everything great. It's the putter that's been failing him. Like off the tee. Off the tee, Johnny Vegas has gained off the tee in all of his events since the AT&T Byron Nelson. The approach numbers are absolutely stellar. Ball striking is stellar. And this is as of late. T25 at the Farmers, T23 at the Phoenix, T56 at the Genesis. The putting's horrible. Lost 6 at the Genesis. He lost 3 1/4 at the Phoenix. He lost 2 at the Farmers. If he keeps up this ball striking, if he keeps up on approach, if he keeps up, his tee to green play off the tee, and he just putts to his baseline, Johnny Vegas is going to be in the mix this Sunday, and I like the spot from as well. I like the spot from as well. Let's see how he ranks out on my model, Vegas. Yeah, he ranks out pretty well in my Vegas in my model. Like I said, a lot of the comp courses that I put in, he plays very well at. Off the tee, he's second in this field. Shots gained approach in this field, he's 12th. I think this is a good spot for him, I really do. Pretty average on Bermuda. I just really like the form that Vegas is in right now, which is really pulling me in his direction. So I think I'm going to run with Vegas outright actually, and I feel probably fine in some of my lineups. He's at 8,600. I like Vegas a lot. Sepp Straka, played pretty well last week, made the cut, 45th finish, won here last year. In that last hole drama, big rainstorm. He almost makes a putt for eagle to put him up 2. Him and Lowry are tied. He taps in for birdie. Lowry had the layup, if I remember correctly, and he missed I don't know, what was it, like a 25, 30-foot birdie putt for the tie. Sepp Straka came up victorious last year, but I don't know about Straka this week. Probably make the cut. I don't see it going back to back, but I think he'll do well. He's at a 7% projected ownership. Wow, that's pretty low. Hasn't really played much this year, too. That's something to keep an eye on. Harry English, obviously the good finish at the Genesis last week. 17th here in 2020, 12th in 2019, 33rd in 2018. The thing with Harry English, though, is, the golfer profile doesn't do it for me. It really doesn't, because if we look at these numbers, the approach play has been not great. Lost 3 at the Phoenix, lost 1 at the Genesis. Does it all at the putter. Gained almost 9 with the flat stick at the Genesis, enabling him to get a T12 finish. Tee to green play was negative. I'm fading Harris English this week, even given his previous performance here in the past. Who's he rank out on my model? Nothing great. Yeah, Harry English is a fade for me this week. Actually not that bad, but I'm not going to get to him with his projected ownership. Harry English, 12. Adrian Moronk, 15%. We know this guy, big European Tour guy. He's been killing it on the European Tour. He had a horrible round 1 at the Genesis. If you could get back to him, he might be a good play. But this next guy here, Seabez, Christian Bezuidenhout, coming in at an almost 9% projected ownership. He has a 25th finish here last year. Showed a little bit of a good sign at the at the Genesis. Around, he's just a really good around the green player and putter. Wow, yeah, this golf pro profile doesn't do it for me. Nope, it just doesn't do it for me. I can't do CBES. Even though he ranks out pretty well in my model, I'm not going to be able to get to CBES this week. He's CBES has lost a significant amount on approach and the ball strike, and he's just his tee to green numbers are brutal. He's a great around the green player. He's a great scrambler. I'm sure he models out very well in sand saves. If we look here, yeah, Bazane he's first and around the green. He's second in scrambling. He's top 30 in sand saves. He's 13th in bogey avoidance. So if you're looking at stuff like that, Bazane is that guy, but it's just the approach game has been absolutely brutal as of late. So probably going to stay away from him. I thought he was going to model up pretty well. Cam Davis, I just can't do. I can't do Cam Davis. Garrick Higo, showing good signs. Probably stay away. Ben Griffin. Ben Griffin. We remember the horrible performance at Pebble. Missed cut there. He's been off 2 weeks. Got a great TikTok account, by the way. I don't think he's ever played here, Ben Griffin. I don't think Ben Griffin has ever played here. How does he rank out in my model? Griffin. Benjamin Griffin, pretty well. Ben Griffin, pretty well. 6 in this field. Weighted shots gain approach. 15th in bogey avoidance. 7th on Bermuda putting. You know, in those approach yard buckets, pretty good. Yeah, it doesn't have any experience here, which is not bad, but it's just, you would like to see guys who, have played this course, who play in Florida a lot. But yeah, I mean, you got to take that AT&T Pebble Pro-Am one with a grain of salt. He lost 4 off the tee. He lost, 3 ball striking, tee to green. Before this, his tee to green numbers were great, gaining almost 3 every round since the Houston Open. T16 there, T29 at the RSM, T12 at the Sony, T32 at the Amex, T31 at the Farmers. And like we said, Ben Griffin's great on Bermuda. He's 7th in the field on Bermuda, and we're back to Bermuda this week. What's his projected ownership at? Yeah, a little bit high, which I could imagine around 15%. Could be a guy I get to this week though. Yeah, I like Ben Griffin. Next guy up, Robbie Shelton, 7,800. He might be a little bit popular this week as 11th place finisher in 2020. Bob Shelton. Bobby Shelton also models out pretty well. Third in this field. On approach. 12th around the green. Not that great on Bermuda. He has played here before though. Like I said, he's a little bit less. He's going to be a little bit less owned than Ben Griffin, but you could pick your guy there. Steven Yeager, bomber. He's been this guy's Yeager's been playing really well. Even on the fall swing, even towards the latter end of last year, 28th at Sony, 36th at the Amex, 40th at the Genesis. He missed the cut at Phoenix. Let's see how consistent he's been being. If you look at Yeager, approach numbers aren't that great. Off the tee, yeah, I probably won't get to him this week. So that was Yeager. Here's the guys who I kind of want to get into. Lee Hodges, unbelievable week last week. 18th at the Genesis. Struck the ball unbelievably well. He came in 9th here last year. Lee Hodges ranks unbelievable on my model. 19th, weighted off the tee. 14th on approach. 1st in sand saves. 21st in bogey avoidance. Third, in my model, 3rd at PGA National. Plays well at pretty much all the comp courses that I put in. The one bad thing that I don't like is his Bermuda putting. But if we just look at him as of late, and we look at him last week, Lee Hodges had an unbelievable week last week. Gainer across the board. He was a complete gainer across the board after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 missed cuts. Since the Houston Open, he's been cut there, RSM, Amex, Farmers, Phoenix, missed cut. Follows up with a T18 at the Genesis, at the Riv. What's his projection at? 14. Another guy right there. Yeah, Lee Hodges won't be a bad. What's his outright number? Lee Hodges, 40 to 1. Not bad. Like I think a guy. I think the value here is probably anywhere from 40 to 90 to 1, and then you're going to get into your 100 plus guys where you can find value, and you might find a guy who's going to be in that range who's going to win. But yeah, we'll have to see there. But Hodges, I like. Benny on. We obviously know he's been unbelievable here in the past. 5th in 2018, 36th in 2019, 4th in 2020. He's been all over the place. Benny on. Benny on. Here we go. Benny on. I really want to deep dive into here. How is he even playing this late? I like the approach numbers. He's got a nice trend up, gaining on approach in his last 3. The off the tee is How does he model out? How does Benny on model out? Benny on. Yeah, like green plays pretty good. It's great sand. Like he's one of the best players in this field. What's his number at? Benny on 12%. I'd rather get to some of these other guys like Hodges, Griffin. We're going down a little. Danny Willett. See, I like this. Danny Willett. It's a 5% projected ownership. Great performance last week at the Genesis. Like this is a guy who I definitely want to dive into. Because remember, folks, he should have won the Fortnite Open against Max Homa. He had that horrible collapse on the 18th hole where he pretty much 4-putted. He missed like 3-footers, 5, whatever it was. And I liked what he posted on Twitter. He's like, great week at the Genesis. Ready for the Florida swing, ready for the Honda Classic. Played great last week. And the week before, T41 finished at the Pebble. T18 at the Jenny. Gained 2.5 on approach, 3 with the ball striking, almost 3 around the green. Tee to green plays was great. Gained almost 6 there. The one thing that's tough here is he's not a Bermuda is probably his worst. Yeah, Bermuda is his worst surface. 19th in the field around the green, 18th in bogey avoidance, 4th in sand saves, 9th in scrambling. I like that number on him too. What is he at? He's at a 5.71 projected ownership. I like that number. I do. Davis Riley. S.H. Kim. S.H. Kim is a guy I could definitely get behind as well. S.H. Kim. See how he's been playing. He's been playing great as of late. T33 at the Genesis, T41 at the 18th Pebble Pro-Am, T20 at the Farmers. Lost a lot on approach at the Genesis, but he putted well. He's been putting great. What's his best surface? Definitely Poa. But no, he's good in everything. Let's see what the model says. S.H. Kim. Yeah. I just think, don't he could be a guy you could get behind this week. Even at that number at 8% EVR. Ben Taylor. Ben Taylor definitely models out very well this week. Benjamin Taylor, yeah. Third, unbelievable on Bermuda, 19th scrambling, 21st sand saves, 9th in bogey avoidance, average across the board in all metrics off the tee, approach around the green. Hasn't played here before, but if we look at a Ben Taylor at a 4% projected ownership, that's value. Ben Taylor, 4%. And remember, folks, he had that nice outing at the Sony. He came in 4th there. Models out well. Same with Adam Long. He's going at 2%. I like what I saw from him in the past couple of weeks. How's he? Look at Adam Long real quick. See, this is where the value is, folks. This is where the value is. This is why RickRunGood.com is the GOAT. This is where the value is. Off the tee numbers, we know that's great. Approach is not that bad, but it can be better. It can be better. This is like a long shot type of thing. I know it. Yeah, long at 200 to 1. Could get behind that. Probably won't get there though. But yeah, getting down here into the sixes, this is where it gets fun. Kevin Sway, good plays and playing great as late. 40th Genesis, 32nd at the Phoenix. Missed cut up Pebble, but 18th at the Farmers. Hasn't had pretty good hasn't had great history here. Yeah, if you're kind of you kind of get into the weeds down with these guys, um, but yeah, like I said, I think a lot of the outright value this from 40 to 1 all the way up to 90 to 1. You know, be when you're running your lineups, like it's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable with guys you're playing. That's how it should be. You know, make sure you're getting your ownership projections. You know, make sure you're dialing in on that because that's going to be huge this week. Like I said, I think you could find a lot of low owned guys who are going to be pretty cheap this week. Who you could kind of pair up with guys like Sung Jae if you're going to be playing them, with guys like Pendrith if you're going to be playing them, Johnny Vegas if you're going to be playing them. I like Johnny Vegas this week. Like I said, I hope we have a big week out of Dietrich, but this is the Honda class is pretty much like a bye week for the Schefflers, the JTs, the big guns. So we got the Honda this week, which I always love. I think PGA Nationals is a great test, so I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to hopefully make some money here. Hopefully this segment kind of gave you guys a nice intel into the betting market, into the DFS market. Subscribe, comment below if you would like to see me do other stuff. Ears are wide open. Want to just cater to the folks here. That's all I ever want to do. So just let me know there. And yeah. And then after this, we get into the bulk. We got the players, we got the API, and then a couple more tournaments there, and then we're at the Masters. So very exciting time in golf. But yeah, that was the Wednesday discussion. DFS talk, betting talk, Jay-Z Sports, BOL this week, folks. See you guys next week. All right. Have a good one. Peace.